recording to all of them as well. So. Everybody is able to record. Whoever wants can record the session. Arvind has given you recording as well.
Sure.
Rajkumar, recording permission given. Sunny, Sonia is already recording. Swapna, can you record? Okay, she's also recording. Okay, fine. We can go ahead.
Yeah.
So, and Durga, you can also record.
You want me to record? Okay.
If you want, you can. It's for your reference.
So do not worry if you are unable to record. I'll be recording and I'll be sharing to everyone. Okay. In case if you have any difficulty in recording, so do not bother about that. I'll be sharing all the videos and I'll be having all the reference to that. Thanks. So in this class, in our previous class, we completed test type analysis. Okay. And in this class, we are going to write test cases for all the test types which we marked as yes. Okay. So in the software industry, especially in the manual testing or software testing, so writing test cases are the mandatory. Okay. So a software tester will be most of his time will be spending on writing the test cases and executing the test cases. Okay. In this case, the first, before he writes the test cases, before he started writing the test cases, so he has to ensure that test type analysis is completed. Okay. Once the test type analysis is completed, then only he is going to start writing the test cases. Okay. In our previous class, this is what we completed. We have completed the test type analysis. Okay. So test type is nothing but, so it tells us that in what manner we have to test it. Okay. So when I talk about performance testing, okay, performance test type, so it says that you just test for responsiveness of the system. Okay. So when I talk about functional testing, it talks about just give the input. Okay, give the input to the system and validate the output. Okay, just give a username and password and click on login button, and the output should be you will be able to log in. In case if the details are invalid, you should be able to see a error message. That's about functional testing. And for example, if we take endurance testing, okay, test the application or test the product for more than 7 days. Okay, at least 7 days, and make sure your application is still working fine. Okay, so each test type has its own responsibility, and based on test type we had to write the test cases. Okay, so let's see what are the test type we marked yesterday. Okay, which are there are these many test types. Some are marked as, some are marked no.
Hi, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So in this sheet, first of all, okay, just give me a second. Okay, I forgot to share the screen. Just a second.
Yeah, because that's why.
Yeah. Thanks for remind me. Okay, this is the screen. I hope everybody able to see it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering that.
Okay. So this is what we are talking about. Okay. Test
okay.
is completed. Okay, that's great. Thanks. So test type analysis is completed, and if you can see it. Okay. So there are the test types which are marked. Some are marked and some are marked no. Right. So we will be only interested. Who will be marking all this yes or no? Okay. Who will be marking whether the functional testing is applicable or not, whether the integration testing is applicable or not. Who will be marking? The software tester or the person who is writing the test cases, who is going to write the test cases. Okay. Once we mark the test types which are applicable for the current future which we are going to test, the current functionality which we are going to test. Once we mark all the test types which are applicable, then we should start writing test cases for each and every test type which is applicable. Okay, so these are the test types I marked as yes. Okay. Functional testing is applicable, database testing is applicable, log testing is applicable. Okay, so by the way, for which feature I'm writing all this, which feature I have done the test type analysis. Does anybody remember, Swapna, Raj, or Sunny, Sonia, for which feature we have done this test type analysis?
Facebook login page.
Exactly, for the login page. For the login page, we have done all this test type analysis. Okay, so let's start writing test cases for each and every test type. Okay, so the first one is functional testing. So what functional testing says? Give the input and validate the output. Give the username and password as the input and validate the output. What is the expected output? We should see a welcome page, or we should see a post page, right? Once we log into the Facebook, that's what we have to see. Remember, for every test case, there will be a expected output. There is a test description and there are expected output. So there are something which are already written. Let's remove them. We'll start from the beginning. Test login, functional testing. FT is nothing but functional testing. Okay, it's also better you can give the okay which application you are testing and which feature you are testing. Okay, I'm testing the login feature in the Facebook application, and it's a functional testing, and whose versions are the application version is v1.0 underscore v1.0, and the test case number is 01. Okay, so what is this all about? Test case ID. Okay, when you start writing a test case, make sure you give a test case ID. Okay, and test case ID should be proper. So it says that test login Facebook, and it is a functional testing, and the application version is v1.0 and the test case number is 01. Okay, let's write some test steps. Okay, okay. So V1 is nothing but version. Okay, so I got a small question. So V1 is nothing but version. Okay, let's what was the Internet Explorer current version? What was the Internet Explorer current version? And what is the Skype version? Okay, and what is the Firefox version? Or I know the best example is take the Windows version. Okay, so I'm using 8.1 version of Windows. Okay, so it is recommended to give a test case ID such a way that we also give the version number. Okay, what was the current version number of a product? Okay, so I'm assuming it is v1.0. Okay, so because we are not the developers of Facebook, right? So that's the reason I just assumed 1.0. So in your product, you have to make sure that you give a proper version number. So ask your system manager or ask your uh, developer and make sure what was the current version. And we don't need to ask, as we are in the company, we will be able to know about the version. Okay. Hope you understand. So, and what was the expected output? So I'm giving, so this is the, remember for every test case, there is a test case ID and there are test steps or nothing but you are going to perform on the application. And for every test case, there will be a expected output. Okay. And what was that? What was the expected output now? Assume ABC, username ABC and password ABC123 does not exist in the database or something. Okay. It's a invalid data, invalid credentials to think of it. Okay. And what was the expected output? What do you see on the page, web page? Any new joiners, Arvind, Sada, and Durga?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Durga, please go
Still
ahead.
there?
Yeah, yeah.
Like how we have to write the test cases in the sense like you wrote Facebook, all this like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So assume right now we are writing test cases for the Facebook login page. Okay. Assume this was developed by your developers. Assume. Okay. And now you are going to test the. Let's say you are in the company and Facebook has just launched and they just developed a login page and that you are supposed to test it. Okay.
So we are doing, excuse me, so we are doing a test case for any Facebook case,
Yeah, for
right?
the login page, assume.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now, so login page has just developed by some developers and it is came for you for the testing. Okay. So testing will not be done immediately. So before that, you have to write the test cases and we are in the process of writing the test cases now. Okay. So these are the test steps. Open the Facebook on a browser by using the URL. Okay. By using the URL. Okay.
Yeah.
Enter username, password, and click on login button. Okay. And what is the expected output? I mean, what you expecting now? If I give you invalid details, the expected output will be details mentioned or incorrect. Okay. Please provide valid details. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
And log in again. Okay. Such kind of message. The message might be different, but similar to this, you will be getting a message.
Yeah, some kind of like a
Giving information to the user.
message or something.
Yes, exactly.
Invalid data or some kind of.
Yeah, is that Durga? I mean, is that Sardar is talking?
Sardar.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Sardar.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, and let's. So before you actually applying the test cases into the application, you have to write the expected output, right? Okay. So these are the test steps. If I perform these steps on a browser, on an application, what would be the expected output? Where do you get this expected output? It's not like something you are assuming, or it's not something you are defining it. Okay. From the requirements, you know what is the behavior of the application. From the requirements, as you understand the requirements, as you analyze the requirements, you know the behavior of the application for a login future. Okay. So based on that requirements, you should be able to write a test case and an expected output. Okay. So that's how we have to write. And let's write some numbers. Okay, Facebook also allows you to write, login with some numbers, right? The mobile number. And assume it's an invalid. Again, it's an invalid. Let's write properly here. Enter a invalid username. Invalid password. We have to write, very clearly. The reason is that these test cases can be executed by somebody else, may not be right away. After some time, it might be used by somebody else also. Okay, we don't know. Okay, maybe you write the test cases. One of us, a QA has written the test cases. Due to some reason, he might be ill and he will not be able to come to the office. Okay, then this work will be shared by somebody else. Okay, what are the test cases he written, executed by somebody else. Okay, behalf of this person absence, and that time the other person should not get trouble in understanding the test cases which you wrote. So for that reason, we have to make sure that we write very clearly from top to bottom. Enter some special characters in the username and also in the password. Make sure it's working fine. And every time test case ID will be increased, right? Again, take the Facebook. And so any other test cases do you think of? Anyone else?
Sudhir, I have a doubt here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So like you are entering everything invalid here, invalid username and the password.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So how will you get the actual output? I mean, like.
Okay. We have to write all combination of test cases. Further. We have to write invalid combination and we have to write valid combination. Okay. I started with invalid combination now, and for every invalid combination, I'm expecting a error message. So the error message, what we've written here, could be slightly, it could be different from the Facebook, whatever it is. Okay, but my expectation is that you should not be allowed to log in. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you should not be. Let me write that expected output also. You should not be allowed to log in. This is my primary criteria. Okay, error message is something different. That's okay, but I should not be able to log in with the invalid credentials. If I log in, my web application, my application will be near a very big risk, right? Let's take a.
These are negative scenario, right?
Pardon, Raj.
These are negative scenario or.
It's a negative scenario. Invalid is nothing but negative scenario. Okay, that's a good question. There could be a question. Okay, there could be an interview question saying that what are the on a broad level, how many so what kind of testing you will be doing, how many kinds of testing you will be doing on a very high level, on a very broad level. So how many kinds of testing you will be doing, how many kinds of testing you will be doing. Okay, somebody asked me this one sometime, I know, very long back, somebody asked me this question. Okay, so that time I was talking about all the test types, but they are not happy with that. Okay, the answer is, on a very broad level, we'll be doing two things. One is positive test cases and the other one is negative test cases. Okay, so it is
other one is what? I'm sorry.
Positive and negative.
Oh, okay.
So it is not defined in any textbook, though it is not defined in any standard manner, but people are expecting this kind of questions. Okay, they'll be asking this kind of questions, and we have to, to crack the things, we have to answer it, whether we know or not. Somehow we have to manage to tell.
And I have one more doubt here, Sudhir.
Right? Please go ahead.
So, like, you are creating these cases, like, instead of, like, only you can do it. If the other person comes and do it, how will he know? He cannot log in.
Correct.
So, it is like for your safety, or like, what is the reason?
So what is the reason why we are writing this one? Am I right? This is what your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, as a tester, what is our responsibility?
You have to provide the details which they can do.
Forget about this test cases, this part of testing, all those things. So, why software testers are recruited? First question.
Mhm.
What is the importance of that? Second question. Or let's discuss only on first question. Why software testers are recruited? What is the why they need it first of all?
Because to like whatever they did errors, like you have to remove from that, or that might be the.
Okay. Yeah. So little bit correct. Let me put in a right manner. Okay.
Okay.
So software, the importance of software testers is to ensure the software quality. Okay. So you take any company, Microsoft, they are developing the Windows, all right, primarily, and they are also developing, Microsoft Office, okay, and they are having many more other components or other software, okay. So for every component, there will be a team of testers, okay. So their job is to ensure the quality of the software is in, is fine. The quality of the software is in right direction. It is working fine. It's fine. Okay, there won't be any issues. Okay, there is no issues. We tested it. Okay, so software tester job is to make sure he tested the product or a component. Okay, very well, and ensure there is or ensured or certified that there is no bugs in this software, and the company, and then onwards the company will get a confidence that okay, this can be launched now to the users, this can be marketed now. Okay, so their job is only to ensure the software quality which is built by the developers.
Okay.
How do we ensure the software quality of a product? Okay, so if you go and test a application randomly, okay, so it's not like we ourselves will not be confident that whether we tested completely or not. Okay, so that's the importance of software tester. So he writes the test cases in a very systematic manner and make sure he tested all these test cases and certifies that this product is working fine. Now it can go for the market, it can go for the users. Okay. Okay, for example, you take a banking application. Okay, so what happens if a banking application comes to the production or comes to the users or comes to the market without testing? Okay, what happens?
It can go
Wrong.
it
Okay.
can go wrong.
Yeah.
And the customers, like, related to banking, there it has to be very secure, since
Very
all
secure.
the
Very
secure,
secure.
since all the accounting information will be there.
Exactly.
So we have to ensure it that
Yes. Yeah. So we have to ensure, in the sense, who has to ensure here?
The
the testers.
The testers. Exactly. Okay. What happens if you transfer a $1 to somebody else, or some person A, and it has reached to some B? Okay, so maybe you might ignore it is $1. So there are people who transfer $10,000, $1,00,000 also. Okay, so what happens if that has to go A but it has gone to B, and B is not ready to give the money? So correct. So we'll talk to the banker, and now there will
The
be,
whole banking system goes down.
yeah, not down. You're transferring some money to A, but
It creates a lot of
to
problems.
B. Okay, so now the banking system will be in a very big problem. The company will be in a very big problem. Okay, so if happens to one person, somehow they will manage it, and if it happens to many people, the bank will go bankrupt, and it will be sued like anything, right? Especially in US. Yeah, so we have to, as a tester, we have to make sure that our application is so strong that nobody can break it. Okay, so we have to ensure that, we have to certify that, and for that reason we test the application in a systematic manner. To test the application, we have to write the test cases. Before writing the test cases, we have to do the test type analysis. Okay, once test type analysis done, we have to write the test cases. So right now, Look into this test case. Look into this test case. I'm writing enter a username which is valid one. Enter a password. I'm entering a valid password. I click on login button. What should be the response for me?
Like you should be able to log in.
Yeah, should be allowed to log in. Exactly.
Allowed to log in.
Yes, thanks. That's correct. Okay. What else we can do? We can do many more other.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question, Sudhir?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, all this while we were putting invalid passwords, right?
Invalid username and invalid password is.
Yeah, all this while we were doing.
Yeah.
And then now we are doing, we are still doing invalid passwords.
Oh, okay. Just a second. One second. I'll be rectify your. I'll answer your question. Yeah. So till this period, till this test case, it is invalid only. Okay. And here it is. We are not saying any invalid. Enter username with 100 characters, and enter password, a valid password. That's okay.
So,
and enter password. We removed. These are the two test cases. I just removed the invalid.
okay, so these are the various scenarios you're showing us,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Various scenarios. Okay. We have to test different kinds of scenarios and make sure in every situation, in every scenario, it's working fine.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have any number, like how, or just how many test cases you can do for one?
There is no kind of limitation. Okay. As long as our brain is working, okay, we can try number of times. Okay. Until you satisfied. Okay. I write more than enough. Okay. It's time to stop. Let's go for execution. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's enough for. Let's write some more test cases. Maybe I will send it to you. I will send this test case template to everyone, and let's write. If there is any additional test cases that can be brought. Okay. Let's talk about database testing. So database testing, make sure you just written as TT, and let's start from 1 again. Okay. So take this one and little bit modify it. Enter a valid username, whatever it is, valid username. Enter valid password. Okay. So database is nothing but where you'll be creating an account in the Facebook or in the Amazon or in the Google somewhere, right? Okay. Let's talk about Facebook now. We are working on Facebook. You will be creating an account on the Facebook. Where this account information will be stored? Where this account information will be stored? Yeah, anyone like Swapna, Raj, And Sunny, Sonia, we already done this one, right? Where the user information.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was your question?
So where the user information will be stored? Okay, when we create a account for Facebook, where the user information will be stored?
In a log file.
Account information, user information, the user information. Okay, the username and password which you are always using to log into the Facebook.
In the server, in a secure server.
In a secure server, that's one more step you have to tell.
Database.
Database. Yes. Is that Arvind?
Patch.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. It's right. Okay, it will be stored in the database. Okay. So, and we are going to test that database. Okay. What we have to test when one more thing we have to write one more test case.
Sunny, are you there? We can't see Sunny. Sunny, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, but my.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, it's not.
Are you facing some technical problems, Sunny?
Yeah, it's not loading in the computer, but I got it on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Okay. Don't worry about the video recording. It will be shared with you after the class.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So let's discuss about these database test cases. Okay. So every time when you create an account, the data will be stored in the database. Okay. So database is nothing but it's kind of a software where it will store the user information. Okay, which will store the data. That could be a user information or user messages. Okay, and if you take a Amazon website, the product information. Okay, so we know everybody will be using WhatsApp, right? So where all these messages will be stored. So definitely not in your mission, not in your mobile phone, because when you change the mobile phone, you can also able to get all this information once again. Okay, so that means that it is stored in somewhere. Okay, so it is stored in the database. Okay, got it right? So the data of user will be stored in the database. Okay, basically any data will be stored in the database. Okay, so for example, if you take a e-commerce web application, so your orders, your transactions, and your checkout list, and your wish list, and and all the product information which is provided by the different sellers. Okay, everything, and sellers information, users information, everything will be stored in the database. Okay, so in this case, let's come back to our Facebook application. So we are creating an account on the Facebook. Is nothing but the account details should be stored in the database. Okay, that's fine, we know it. And what is our test case? What we have to make sure here? So we have to make sure that the account details should be stored in the database, and all the details which we provided should be present in the database. Okay, so if you give, for example, if you give username as something Sudhir, and password as Sudhir at 123, something like that, and it only stored username but not stored the password, then it's something but, so you are not, the developer has not written a proper code to store all the information. That will be a bug.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is one thing we have to ensure, and this is the second thing we have to ensure. And third thing is that, so when you click on the create an account, okay, once you enter all the details, when you click on a create an account, all these details will be stored in the database. Okay, so there are some SQL queries which will take care of inserting these data into the database. There are SQL queries, SQL statements, okay, which are used to insert the data which you have provided into the database. Okay, so we have to make sure that SQL queries which are executed are not duplicated. Okay, simply we can say duplicate SQL queries are not filed and unnecessary. So in this setup, in this step, creating an account, okay, creating an account by providing some details. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm entering, I wanted to store my details into this database. Okay, so for that, the SQL statements which are required to insert the data only should be executed. Okay, if some queries related to delete or some queries related to update or modify is executing, is nothing but what? So it's executing some unnecessary test case, unnecessary SQL queries. Okay, we have to also make sure that, so for this operation there should not be any duplicate SQL queries are filed, and there should not be any unnecessary SQL queries are filed.
Can you repeat the number 3 again for me?
Okay, so see, first of all, we need to understand what is SQL queries. Okay, so we said, when I say create an account with some data, okay, so we know that this data will be stored in the database. Okay, who will be storing this data into the database? Whatever the information which I provided on the web application, who is inserting this data into the database. Okay, so for that case, we need SQL queries. We need SQL is a programming language. SQL is a language where it helps us to insert or modify or update the data into the database. Okay, it provides a set of SQL statements which will be used to work with the database. Okay, in this case, I'm adding some data to the database. Okay, for that case, only for that case, whatever the SQL statements which are required to insert the data to the database, that only executed. Okay, that is about fourth point. When it comes to third point, okay, so there should not be, so if one statement, if I execute, the data will be stored into the database. Okay, so only one statement, one SQL query should be fired, not more than one. If it is firing more than one statement and the same statement is firing again and again, then we can say duplicate queries. We have to ensure that it is not firing the duplicate queries. Okay, so that's one thing. And in the second test case, okay, so here nothing much to verify. We have to just ensure. So when I say enter the valid username and enter the valid password and click on login button, this username and password will be validated across the database, and make sure these details are exist in the database. If the details are exist, it will allow you to log into the Facebook. Okay, so in this case, we have to ensure only duplicate queries, only this one. This is more than enough. Okay, so for every test case, for every database test case, we have to ensure, for every database test case which we write, we have to compulsory ensure it is not firing duplicate queries, and it's not executing unnecessary queries. That's what we have to ensure. Okay. Okay, so the remaining test types, okay, so which are not in bulk size. Okay, the remaining test cases, the remaining test types, we are going to work on tomorrow. Okay, and we'll be filling all the data here.
Can I ask you one thing, Sudhir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
the screen that
Yeah.
the sheet that you're showing us,
Yes.
the data, the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we take a printout or have some kind of notes where we can go back and read and study?
So right away, give me some time. Okay, I'll be sending this template by in another 1 hour. Okay, this test case template. Okay, so you can modify, you can print out. Okay, yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, your wish. Okay, I'll be sending to you.
Okay, so whatever course material that there will be some course material, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, one is course material and the video sessions, because you just attended, you need some you have to brush up, right, what has happened in the previous classes. Okay, not too many. Okay, so if you see, there are if it looks like there are many videos, but what I do is for every session, let me stop recording it.